All right, so if you're like me and you're rooting for a big Trump, a big MAGA win on Election Day, is it possible that we've already been through the hardest part? Is it all downhill from here? Probably not. We can't take our foot off the pedal, but I'm flabbergasted by this in the best possible way. You know Mark Halperin, you heard about this, right? Mark Halperin works here at Newsmax. He's got a bunch of other things going on. He's a brilliant guy. I know he has his detractors. I'm not one of them. Yeah, he used to work at ABC News. I don't care. The guy is brilliant, and he usually gets it right. Sometimes wrong, but his batting average is excellent. He actually reported that Joe Biden would be leaving the race about 48 hours before anybody else had it. Check out what he's saying now about this early voting stuff that's happening. Watch.
If the early vote numbers stay the way they are, and that's a big if, we'll almost certainly know before Election Day who's going to win the election. Make no mistake, if these numbers hold up in the states where we can understand even partially what the data is like, we'll know that Donald Trump's going to be president on Election Day.
Wow. No 2 weeks, 2 months, no. Could that be? He actually said we could know even before Election Day. All right. I know we can't celebrate or anything like that, but this is very, very beautiful news. Everybody's got to get out there and do their part. But the early voting thing used to be the province of Democrats. Republicans have bought in. Take a look at this. That so-called blue wall, right? The blue wall of protection for Democrats. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. All of those Senate races are considered toss-ups. They actually have leans left, slightly right, center. It's a toss-up. And that is, according to the politicos, the experts, a huge sign that the Democrats are in very serious trouble. And let's face it, they've been losing news cycle after news cycle, moment after moment. Donald Trump, he's everywhere, anywhere, all the time, beating the Democrats, sometimes at their game, sometimes just across the board. This McDonald's thing, okay, we're not done with it yet. It was, I think, in its own way, yet another game changer in his favor. This is political mastery. It may look, some people say, oh, it's just a stunt. Well, you know what? It's campaign time. The opponent said she worked there and couldn't prove it and embarrassed herself. This was awesome, and the whole damn country noticed it, saw it, and hats off to him. And you know how we know this has really made the Democrats furious? United States senators, 3 of them, 3 Democrats, wrote a very nasty letter to McDonald's today. They sent a letter to McDonald's. And it's not about this. It's not about letting Trump into the restaurant, although I think it has something to do with it, right? We write with concern regarding increases in fast food prices over the last several years, and we're seeking information regarding McDonald's pricing decisions. You really care, Elizabeth Warren, about this stuff? Keep going. Earlier this summer, McDonald's announced a $5 meal. You're writing them about the Happy Meal. Although initially introduced as a limited-time offer, the company is extending the deal. This is the U.S. Senate's business. Apart from the $5 meal deal, has McDonald's lowered prices on individual menu items? If no, please explain why not. Oh boy, I wish I worked at McDonald's. I would tell them to go to you-know-where. While McDonald's is not the only fast food restaurant that has increased prices significantly in recent years, it has an outsized impact on American consumers. While McDonald's is not the only fast food restaurant that has increased prices significantly in recent years, it is the only fast food restaurant where Donald Trump made an appearance and rocked the political world at the drive-thru, everybody. Yeah, that's why they're really, really upset. Where's that Trump picture? One more time. There he is. Mastery. Corporate profits must not come at the expense of people's ability to put food on the table. These people are so unbelievably out of touch. When it comes to McDonald's, that's not putting food on the table. It's a treat. It's a special treat. And if it's too expensive, we won't go. And then McDonald's will have to deal with it. While working families are trying to make ends meet, McDonald's and its corporate counterparts have continued to grow their profits. This is a signal, by the way, that these people, Ron Wyden, Elizabeth Warren, and Casey in Pennsylvania, they're socialists. Americans are now leaving fast food establishments and are increasingly choosing to spend their food dollars on at-home consumption. You know what they should be doing, those senators? Applauding that. I like McDonald's. Trump likes McDonald's. It's one of the reasons why I work so much. He wasn't being a phony. He wasn't pandering like Kamala Harris. But McDonald's isn't great for you, right? You can only eat there occasionally. Eating at home, Robert F. Kennedy would be thrilled by this stuff. McDonald's net annual income rose by 79% to nearly $8.5 billion from 2020 to 2023. And you know what comes through here? Jealousy. These Democrats, they're resentful when other people get rich. They think they're so smart. They're kind of controlling the world, right? I see Joe Biden. He says out loud that he can't stand it when people make more money than he does.
54, I believe, of the maybe 53 of the Fortune 500 companies that made $40 billion. You know how much money they made in the third and fourth quarter? I mean, the second and third quarter? $100 billion. 100 billion. No. It's outrageous. Exxon made more money than God.
And Joe wants a piece of that. And so does Hunter. Go through Hunter. I notice this a lot. He really doesn't like. I'm a capitalist, he says, although he's worked for the government and somehow he's become a rich man. All right, so the McDonald's chapter. Is it over yet? Almost. Donald Trump wins conclusively, all right, overwhelmingly. You know, Kamala, I remember where I worked as a kid. I worked at the Food Basket on 7th Street in Garden City. I worked at Bloomingdale's in the stationery department, also in Garden City. I worked at the Immigrant Savings Bank in Queens, shredding mortgages. That was my job. I shredded old mortgages. I can tell you exactly where I worked. Why is she so vague about it, huh?
She was the daughter of a working mom, and she worked at McDonald's while she got her degree.
At any point in your life, have you served 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, working at a McDonald's? Yes or no? That's it.
I have.
Madam Vice President, do you work at a McDonald's? Which one? She doesn't know because she made it up. And she got caught. And they can't stand it. Hey, here's something that's actually kind of sad about Kamala Harris. She doesn't seem to have a great relationship with her dad. It's just sad. I don't like that. He's alive. They don't talk. Now, Donald Trump's dad is no longer with us. Neither is his mother. But he speaks about them with such reverence.
My father, Freddie, was a great guy. My father, he was a tough cookie, but he had a very big heart.
My father was great. Good salesman, good builder. He loved to build houses. He was a good builder. I learned so much from him. And he was a great guy, a lovely guy. I loved my father.
My father, Fred Trump, I loved my father. My father is up in heaven, and my mother. And my father was tough, but he was a good man. He was a good person, so I know he's in heaven. My mother, I guarantee it. My father, I think.
My father, I think. I'm sure he was quite a guy. And I mean, this is kind of, you know, it says something in the Bible about that. Actually, it's a commandment. Honor thy mother and father, right? Well, he's definitely doing that. So I actually think it's sad that Kamala and her dad don't have much of a relationship. The photos, you know, go all the way back to the baby era. I'm sure he was a nice guy. Every dad loves his daughter, and I'm sure every daughter loves the dad, but they don't talk. And I know that from the New York Times, actually. They got pretty good sources in the Democrat Party. And how does it go? Let's read the story, please. Kamala Harris and the influence, Donald J. Harris, 86 years old, this distinguished economist, lives with his second wife only 2 miles from the vice president's official residence in Washington, yet he has been estranged for years from his daughter, and the two seldom speak. We haven't heard that, have we, right? And it's kind of sad. She's got that big house. It'd be perfect to have him over. Have a little reconciliation on that front porch if you don't want to have him in the house. Anyway, most of us don't know this because the campaign has lasted, what, 93 days? 93 days to get to know the next president of the United States. No, that's just not enough time. It's not enough time to learn things like this, how disastrous her last campaign was. Her last campaign was so bad they didn't make it to the voting, right? She ran for president in 2019. It was a 2020 election. Let's go through the letter that her campaign manager wrote about the whole situation. She wrote that I have never seen an organization treat its staff so poorly. This is the campaign manager, okay? Keep going, please. Our campaign for the people is made up of diverse talent, which is being squandered by indecision and a lack of leaders who will lead. This is unacceptable, the campaign manager wrote. Keep going. Morale has never been lower. Wow. We have refused to confront our mistakes, foster an environment of critical thinking and honest feedback, or trust the expertise of talented staff. We find ourselves making the same unforced errors over and over. Sounds just like her vice presidency. That's what her presidency would be like, God forbid. What about her sister Maya? Why don't we know anything about her? She was actually running the campaign. That was one of the big problems with it, and she is a crazy, sorry leftist herself, we're told. How about this? When she was an attorney general of California, this guy went on the record saying that she treated his son so poorly. Senator Harris vocally throws around F-bombs and other profanity constantly in her berating of staff and others. The staff is in complete fear of her, and she uses her profanity throughout the day. Do we have another one? This guy named Gregory got an internship there. As Attorney General, Senator Harris instructed her entire staff to stand every morning as she entered the office and say, "Good morning, General." My God, what a head case. Keep going. There's Gregory, the intern, was also given instructions to never address Harris nor look her in the eye, as that privilege was only allowed to senior staff members. I think we got one more. No, that's it. Well, an internship at her office was not only unpaid, it was pretty crummy. And the kid, Gregory McIntyre, had a very, very unpleasant experience. We just don't know enough about her, right? Only 93 days, and they can't get this one by the American people. And it's pretty glorious right now. It was scary there for a while, but I'm feeling great. Okay, next, please.
Election Day is just over 2 weeks away, and the fight for every single last undecided vote in battleground states is intensifying. Vice President Kamala Harris is targeting disaffected Republican voters by hitting the trail with Liz Cheney in the crucial blue wall states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Cheney was a powerful Republican congresswoman, and today she called Harris a responsible adult. As for former President Donald Trump, he was back in North Carolina again, pushing false claims about FEMA and immigrants. That's after he spent the weekend slinging a crude insult at Harris, engaging in lewd locker room talk about the late golfing legend Arnold Palmer, and staging a campaign stunt at a Pennsylvania McDonald's.
In other words, Kamala Harris is an angel and Donald Trump is the devil. How about that? Kamala Harris, embracing voters, new bipartisanship. Donald Trump, misinformation, lewd, crude, all that stuff. The reporter there, by the way, is Nora O'Donnell. And the stuff that they were saying about Kamala Harris, they say the same stuff about her at the office. Yeah, very high maintenance, multiple hairdressers, six-figure clothing allowance. I bring that up to highlight just how hypocritical the media class are in this country. For instance, remember over the weekend, Donald Trump used the SHI word once, right? One word to talk about the Kamala Harris. Watch again how the media pretended to be so offended.
At a rally in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, Donald Trump delivered a meandering and profanity-laced diatribe against Kamala Harris, taking a campaign that has been filled with personal attacks to a nasty new level.
The former president lacing his closing argument to voters with inflammatory rhetoric, profanity, and vulgarity.
The new levels of vulgarity and profanity.
Donald Trump, as we get closer to November 5th, he is really ratcheting up that dark picture of America, using more personal attacks, more profanity, more vulgar type of language.
Vulgar. I haven't heard that word in about 25 years. The country's become so vulgar. Everybody's like, vulgar. Well, fascinating, isn't it?
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.